Hey loves, I'm feeling so called to inspire you guys to show up in your inspired action steps for how you want to change the world. Like the world really needs all of the light workers and healers and heart-centered human beings to show up in the way that they're feeling called and nudged to. So that can be very small level things of just like showing up for lives that make you feel better, for healings, for things that help you, or like smiling at another human being, or doing deeper healing work, or shifting your current career into the full like solopreneur lightworker space where you're helping other people with your gifts and abilities and all those things. It can be so many things along that journey, but the world needs us so much right now. And it's unfortunate, but tends to be true where like negative things will add more like fuel to our fire to like really push us to co-creating that. And I was having an interesting discussion earlier today that like it sucks that there's currently fires and horrible things happening with the Amazon rainforest and the state of the world that we are in with climate change and how we're polluting the earth that we live on, the only earth that we have here to live on, and that we're destroying it and treating it like it's nothing, where it's literally, if that doesn't here, like if we don't have a planet to exist on, nothing else matters. Not how much money's in your bank or what titles you have after your name or how big your house is. If we don't have a healthy planet to live on and we create a horribly toxic environment where we're all just like disease filled and living a really poor quality of life, like nothing else matters unless the planet is being well taken care of. So I was just having a conversation where that gives me so much more fuel to show up, to create more Facebook Lives, to push the fucking critic in the back of my head and self-doubt to be like, fuck you, it's selfish to like think about how my hair looks or what someone's gonna think about, what time of day I go live, or exactly how I say it, or how put together or not a Facebook Live is. Like, I don't give a fuck if someone has those judgments. I'm here to serve and support the one person who needs the healing that I bring that day, the inspiration, the message, the lesson that they need in whatever way I show up in my life on social media and with my clients. So it's really shitty that those kind of things have to happen where you have to be like, fuck, like the Amazon's on fire and it's essentially the lungs of our planet, to be like, okay, nothing else matters. Show up in the way that you're supposed to. Listen to your soul. Let's fucking go. And like the first big thing of that happened in my life was like when Donald Trump won. I had the whole plan in my head to be like, oh, I'll like transition and maybe like go from quitting my corporate job to this transition job for like 5 to 10 years, and then I'll start helping people full time. And like then it was like, no, like while you're in jobs now, like find positive quotes, post them, help people how you can now, build this up now, go faster, do more certifications, like do it fucking now. The world needs love and light now. Even if you see other people do similar things, like you're here to serve your people in the way that you need to right now, because look at the state of the world that we're in right now. So I want to really send so much love and encouragement and good energy to all the people who watch my videos, who are on social media, who feel called to doing something but might feel like the same way that I have, where we have negative voices in our head and self-doubt that discourages us from doing what we're feeling called to do. And I'm sending you so much love to just fucking be like, you don't matter, my purpose matters, helping the world matters, helping me matters, helping one other soul on this earth matters. And like not getting caught up in like the ego shit of how many people are liking my posts, how many people are watching, how many people are signing up for the workshops, how much money do I have, how much profit did I make off this thing. To like show up how your heart is calling you to do, because that's what matters. Nothing else matters. In like reality, what we're here to do is following our own unique life path, and there's no one black and white measuring scale of how you're following your heart's desires. You're the only one who knows in your heart and in your soul and in your gut, whichever way you're feeling it, if you're showing up in the way that you're called to on this earth, in the way that you decided that you would before you incarnated here. So I definitely encourage you to shift your mindset when those things happen. And like it still happens to me because I'm going for bigger and more things outside my comfort zone that like sometimes terrify me. And I'm like, okay, who do I have to be to show up for that? How can I just keep fucking showing up for that and being a bigger, brighter version of myself? And I'll listen to the inspiration that comes and I'll act on it and not let those old thoughts and fears and worries get in my way. And if they're like big enough, then I'll do the healing work on it. I'll do my own theta healing downloads. I download myself like every single day. I highly recommend getting the theta healing certification. I have given myself downloads and clearings every single day since getting that certification. So like the most valuable certification out there, in my opinion. That's like if your energy super resonates with it. Other people's energies super resonate with other modalities, and they use it every single day of their life, and like that's awesome too. So yeah, I'm just like all like excited. So the video that I watched a couple hours ago, and I've been thinking about it since, so I figured I'd come on here and share with you guys, was about like changing your mindset on failures. And Lewis Howes posted it on his Instagram, and then I like shared it in my stories and then made my own little stories, and I wanted to talk more and elaborate on that with you guys here as well. And hi Oliver, hi Laura, hi Krista Lee, hi Connie, hi Paul. I hope you guys are having an awesome evening. So my like biggest takeaway from watching the video about changing your mindset of failures, which had like J.K. Rowling and Oprah and a bunch of other really inspirational, successful women in it, was one of them, and I don't know her name, but it seemed like she was the creator of Spanx. She said that her biggest like blessing was, and I don't think she said blessing, but in my mindset it's like that was a huge blessing for her to have, was from a young age, her dad encouraged her and their family to talk about failures and to look for failures, like to be going out there into the world so much that you have failures to talk about every single week. And he was actually disappointed if you came to the dinner table and had no disappointments that week. Like you were encouraged to show up and go outside your comfort zone and go for your big dreams and goals, so that a byproduct of that process is failures. So I absolutely love that. And then I was like, ooh, I want to like celebrate my failures. Like I love check-in calls. I love having accountability. I love coaches that like check in with me and like celebrate my wins and see where my struggles and gaps are, and like let's fucking move forward and heal things and close gaps and make huge quantum leaps. I'm all about that. And it hadn't like hit me like that before, to truly celebrate my failures, like to be like, I also have an intention that I'm going out there so much in the world that every single week, that like 52 weeks of the year, that I have 52 like big failures where I'm like, yeah, like that was a failure, and I'm pushing myself and doing so many things and expressing myself in the most incredible capacity that I can on this earth, that failures are the byproduct of the successful journey that I'm on. So I like was racking my brain for it, because I'm like, the things that I had set to do for like myself and my clients and the like gaps that I was working on last week, I'm like, the things that I was doing like got done. I was like really trying to focus, and I was like, shit, I'm not putting myself out there enough. And then I'm like, I don't think I've sold any tickets yet for the Blissful Blowjobs workshop that I was doing. So I went into the back end and I haven't. So that was something that a couple weeks ago I like made a post and just shared like from inspiration, that when I was a lot younger, I had a very negative mindset around blowjobs. I felt like I had to do it because I needed to be a good girlfriend, and like sometimes it would like be uncomfortable, or like my knees would definitely hurt for some of them. Like I would just like be uncomfortable, and like my pain didn't really matter, or like how I was feeling didn't really matter. I was just like giving pleasure to a boyfriend so that they would like never leave me, and that was my intention when I was younger. And a lot of other women have those same kind of mindsets and mentalities, and I've done so much work in the sexual healing and pleasure centers of my life and my body on this journey that I got to the place where I could have like squirting orgasms while giving blowjobs to partners. And then I was like sharing that I was doing that type of work privately with some of my clients, and they got really, really excited about it. And then they're like, why aren't you sharing this publicly? Like, I had no idea that like this was something I could get from you. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want negative attention, and I sometimes do get negative attention, and I just like block and delete people. And then like a bunch of people like commented and liked it, and a bunch of people reached out to me privately. So I'm like, okay, I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on and projects, and I'm writing my book, and I'm doing other bigger courses that I'm gonna launch in the fall. And I was like, but everyone's asking for this, and I could totally teach people how to do this and do the healings for it. So I made like a quick landing page, and I'm like, let's go, like let's do this workshop. And I like sent them all the links, but I haven't been promoting it at all publicly. Like I think I put the link out there once on Facebook, but other than that, everyone was just like private, because like my layers of speaking my truth, shining my light more, and especially in like the sexual world where I don't want an algorithm on Facebook or Instagram or anything to like block my account or shut it down or think that I'm doing porn or like going against the guidelines, which I'm not. I've read them. I'm very clear in education and healing, and that's the only type of stuff that I do. So it's interesting that like I just haven't been sharing it much, and that came up from that reflective experience that I don't even have the link in my bio and Instagram like showing people where they can get it. Like I'm that level of like not really showing it or talking about it. So I just made another post about it, and I'm now talking about it here. So like by looking at those things, it's like, yeah, I can do my big projects and also the little things. Like I can serve people for exactly where they're at on their journey, and like not fucking care about the numbers. Like that's so interesting to me, and I get it, because oh my god, when I was in my first year of my business, I so cared that only 4 people showed up to my first workshop. I thought that that was so bad. And then when I was like selling them out, I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. Like it was very like ego based of like, I'm doing a good job, I'm a good healer, people can tell that I'm doing a good job, people are sharing it with other people, that's why I have to do like another workshop right after that. Like with the same things, because I was doing a lot of like in person back then. So like it was awesome when those things started happening, and then I'd have like random workshops that I'd offer, and like one person would come. And I remember the first time I like shared that only one person came, and like I was excited because I gave her a ton of like one-on-one information, and then she was kind of at the place where she was getting a ton of value from what I was giving, but she was asking questions because it was one-on-one in-person workshop. Like more people could have come, but like she was the only one in the workshop, so she asked more questions. She like got me thinking for other ideas for other things that I've put in other courses since. So it was so valuable for me there. And if I had just been like, oh, only one person's coming, I'm gonna cancel because society says only serving one person is a failure, it's like, that's so bullshit. So it's been very interesting to talk to other light workers who are like either scared to offer something at all because they might get very low enrollment or no enrollment at all, or like have crickets or like anything like that, or people who are in the 9-to-5 world who see some of that stuff happening and are just like terrified of it happening. It's not that bad. Like it's a really interesting flow of like the waves of entrepreneurship and the cycles that people go in their business, where like sometimes I have like so much stuff to do and it's a blessing and amazing, and then sometimes it's like, oh, I thought this was gonna be awesome and there's crickets, and all the things in between. And that's part of the process, and there's so many things that we learn along the way that if you hadn't done the earlier things, you wouldn't get the current things now, which is super, super, super interesting to me. And yeah, let's just like talk about all the things. I'm like, so many things are coming through. So at the beginning of the year, when I did From Broken to Blissful, that 3-month group coaching program, like that was amazing. That was like everything that I wanted it to be, and it was amazing. And when it was starting to like get closer to the end, I really wanted to like keep going. I really wanted to like keep seeing the same types of like women doing the same kind of things in a group setting in the summer. I'm like, this would be awesome. And no one signed up for it. But from all the posts that I had created around From Broken to Blissful and my stories and what I was going through and those vulnerable shares, I got incredible Soul Sister one-on-one clients. So I actually like made more money from doing the one-on-one clients that I had anticipated from the launch of the group. So like, even though in my head, and I am an ex-accountant, I have the accounting brain, I understand the value that people put on numbers, totally. And it was very interesting because I was just like, to the point of my business, like I'm in year 3 of my business where I'm like, I trust what's meant to happen. I trust that if I'm feeling called to make this post, I'll make the post. And more often than not, I'll make the post. And sometimes it's not like within the minute I get the download. Sometimes I'm like, really? You want me to do that? are you really, really sure? And sometimes it's like, yeah, we're so fucking really sure that we're not going to give you any other creative information until you like make this one. So I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that then. But I'm at the point where it's like, I'm here to show up and serve how I'm called, and it doesn't matter what my expectations are. Like, there's like a fine line of, I am fully supported by my business, so it does matter like on a 3D level of helping people so that I can also continue to do this full time and have that flow and energy continue to happen. But also like, I'm not so attached and white knuckling one single event or group or client or lead or anything where I need it to turn out how I want it to, otherwise it's a failure. So if I had like, I was even like talking in my accountability group and like to other lightworkers that like, it's totally fine that no one joined that group. It just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't the divine timing for the souls that in my mind I perceived that I was here to serve and support. And it's so interesting that some of them just went into one-on-one coaching, and that technically, by me being like, this is cool, I'm here to show up and serve, I'll serve whoever my soul sisters are who are ready to come through, and the group didn't happen, yet more one-on-one clients did, and that brought in more revenue than the group. So I feel that my non-attachment to the one particular stream of income that I'm getting, because I have the different ways that I serve people, has been so supportive. And I think that people who really internalize one failure, like being like, I did a webinar and no one showed up, or only like 5 people showed up, or 10 people, or only like 50 people signed up for it, like whatever happened, like getting so attached to one outcome of one thing can hold people back, because they can internalize it being like, well, maybe I'm not good at it, maybe people don't want this from me, maybe blah, 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 stories in our head that make us doubt ourselves and make us not want to keep doing more things. And I feel like it's super, super powerful to step back and be like, I'm here to serve, I'll keep being here to serve, I'll show up how I'm being called to do it, and like being really connected with yourself and the downloads that you get. So that could be like meditation or dance or journaling or whatever way you love to connect with your higher power, like being more connected with who you are and how you're here to show up, like that's super supportive. But yeah, the more you can get into your knowing that you're here to serve people and that you know that you're just going to keep being here to serve people, the stuff around numbers and failures and one event having a sold out number of people or not is like, it doesn't matter as much. So I'm like so excited about all the things that are coming through. I'll check back into the comments too. Okay. Because like downloads are coming through, and I wasn't planning on doing healings, but let's do some healings too. And hi Chris, and Laura says, yay, it was so awesome. Yeah, Laura was one of the beautiful soul sisters who were in the first iteration of From Broken to Blissful. It was so awesome. And hi Christina, hope you're having an awesome day. Okay, so do you want to clear, release? Okay, so I'm going to do some theta healing downloads, and all you have to do is say yes to receive them. If you want to know more about theta healing, I have other videos where I explain it more. So do you want to clear, release, and let go of all the negative energy, of the heaviness, of the pressure, of the overwhelm, of the sadness and frustration, and the anger and the confusion around not quite hitting your goals, around flat out, quote, failing, and around not meeting the expectations that you have for yourself or that other people have for you. And if you would like that, you can say yes in the comments for the downloads. And do you want to know who you are and what your life looks like when you can move in flow and inspired action and in alignment with your soul's calling and your divine timing in this world? That you can have the peace, the presence, the clarity, the patience, and the passion that it requires to show up as a light worker in this world, as a healer, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as a mentor, as a guide, in any way. and that you know that you can, that the world needs you, that it's time for you to show up and to shine brighter, and that you know how to move in these inspired action steps with the most amount of love, support, ease, grace, and joy in this world. And if you would like that, you can say yes. And you want to cut the cords, contracts, vows, commitments, and obligations, and break any old identities around you being a failure, around you failing, and around you letting people down, or the like harshness of other people's judgments that you felt or that you perceived other people were thinking about you and what you were doing. And if you'd like to clear those completely in all levels and resolve it on history level, you can say yes. And do you want to know how you can even more deeply connect with your soul, with your authentic self, with your highest self, and allow her or him to show up, to shine through, and that you can allow yourself the space to err in it, to make mistakes, to learn from your failures, and that you trust yourself to really understand on a deep level that these things are happening for your highest, best good and your optimal health. And if you would like that, you can say yes. And we can integrate those changes. I can also offer you a general healing for any other area in your life or body that's ready to be healed right now, and fill you up with your higher powers, unconditional love, compassion, joy, and bliss. And if you would like that, you can say yes. And you can take some deep cleansing breaths. And you can open your eyes. Definitely take a drink of water. And let me know how that's feeling in your body right now. And thank you guys for the love. I love all of your guys' love. Yeah, that felt really warm in my body. My hands are like sweating. A lot of energy just cleared. So let me know how that felt in your body, if you felt some releases or more clear on something, or like inspired to go out and share your gifts in the world. And so many light workers watch my stuff. So feel free right now to shout yourself out and be like, I am your name and all the awesome things that you offer and serve and support people in the world with, because the world needs it. And also, if you want to be on my Love and Light show, I'm scheduling out Love and Light shows for the fall. So if you have watched them and wanted to be on them, or you're just like a light worker who randomly found this video and don't really know what my Love and Light shows are, I interview guests who are light workers and healers and heart-centered entrepreneurs and coaches and guides and mentors, so that they can share their message and their light and their love and their wisdom and their expertise with my audience. And I just firmly believe that we can all be the change that we want to see in the world, and that a rising tide raises all ships, and that it's so important for us to be an embodiment of love and to shine and spread more love and light in this world, because it's so needed. And Laura said, that was exactly what I needed. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And Krista Lee, thank you. I nodded off. Beautiful. I love that you had a very like relaxed experience through the energy. A lot of people feel that too, because our theta brainwave is something that you naturally and normally go into every single night when you go to bed. So especially since this is a later live, it's totally cool that your brain that wanted to do that. And Adriana, hello. Laura, how are you doing? I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing? Okay, so then other stuff that was coming through, I kind of made like notes because I was really excited to talk about this because I was talking about it in my stories and I wanted to share like so much more. And hi, Sylvie. Okay. Oh, yeah, and then to also like share wins more. Like I feel like another thing that happens in like the world essentially is like we're not encouraged, especially as women, to brag about ourselves. And this was a big thing for me to get over. And in my first year of business, I like hired a sales and marketing coach, and he was like, as homework, go in the mirror and brag about yourself, because I had all these certifications and all these skills and tools that I could help people with, and I wasn't sharing it enough publicly because when I was growing up at 10 years old, that was when apparently the popular girls were like, it's bad to be smart, and then I was always getting like 100%, so I was like Laura Miss Perfect and like a bunch of like other names, and it was bad for me to be different. It was bad for me to be smart. It was bad for me to be excited that I got another 100% on a test. So I very much internalized the gifts that I have to just like be quiet, otherwise you get physically like I got stuff thrown at me like on the playground, and like I stopped going outside. It was a big thing of like being bullied when I was younger, where it was just like, okay, it's not really safe to be smarter than people or to be happy and excited about your stuff. So I'd always downplay things, and I'd get like big rewards and I got a full scholarship, but I've always like downplayed my just innate intelligence, even if I worked really fucking hard. Like in high school, physics was hard. I was in there every single like noon hour for help and like after school support hours to like get my GPA to a point where I could get a full scholarship. Like I fucking worked hard for things and still would downplay it. And I feel like women are told not to brag because we don't want to make other people feel bad for our light. And a big thing on my journey has been continuously not wanting to dull my shine or to get my shine to affect someone else or make them feel bad. And that's happened with friendships, and that's happened with partners, and that's happened in a bunch of different areas. And I keep doing the work on it, and I keep doing the throat chakra opening and clearing on it, which is why I love when I tend to attract light workers and women who want to step into light working roles in a deeper level who have those issues, because it's like, yep, I have dealt with so many of those. I'm on like level 5,000 of like shine your light brightly, clear your throat chakra, and like speak your truth on this because I've had so many different levels and areas of my life personally and professionally where I've done these different things. So I really, really encourage you, if you're resonating with not wanting to brag about yourself, not wanting to tell people exactly who you are, how you can show up, how much information you know about this, how deeply certified you are. I like realized I did webinars where I didn't explain that I was like a certified theta healer, that I'm a Master Reiki practitioner, that I'm a Master University graduate, that I'm like a sound healer. Like I realized when I was going through, I don't know if it was the last one or the one before that, when I was doing like a webinar template, I'm like, I don't have a slide that talks about my certifications. Like that was the degree of like downplaying my like innate gifts in the world and the stuff that I've gone out and worked for and invested in and taken a lot of like time and money and energy to get those things. So if that's resonating with you and you're like realizing that you're not shining your light and showing up in the world in the way that you need to because you don't want to fucking brag, do that homework thing that I did in year one of my business and like go to a mirror and talk about how awesome you are and get in the habit of doing it. And it's not in a way where you're telling someone I'm better than you. I feel like that's where it gets to the negative place. But there was a video and it's coming up right now. It talks about like the definition of humble. It's like acting less than you actually are or something like that. Like it's making yourself smaller and constricting yourself and taming yourself down so that someone else feels okay. And that's doing the world a huge disservice. There are a lot of cocky as fuck people who are corrupt and hurting our planet right now. And women and men who are called to make a difference and to be light workers and to make positive, loving change in the world need to build their confidence and need to speak their truth and need to show up in the big and small ways that we're feeling called to make the world a better place right the fuck now. And I love all the comments that are coming in, so I'm going to check in. I just kind of like get the flow of like all the things coming, and I'm like, I'm gonna say all the things and then I'll check it. Okay, so Laura Scott is an amazing person. She's a super awesome soul sister. Highly recommend her. So she says, I am an assertive life coach who helps others set boundaries, heal wounds through EFT tapping, and be more assertive. Yes, love that. And Adriana, my name is Adriana from California. Nice to meet you too. Yes, so nice to meet you. And it's her first time. Thank you for coming and joining us live. Krista Lee, I came back thinking I missed it, but I'm pretty sure my brain took it all in. Yes, and that's what I love about theta healing. You can literally like go to sleep with these downloads because it's your subconscious mind. As long as you like say yes and you're like, my intention is to say yes and to receive this, like your subconscious is getting it. I've had, especially during like theta healing certifications, where literally it's just like, here's hundreds of downloads we're gonna download you with. You're just like sitting there and you're like, yes, yes, yes. And there's been times where like she'll say, like my teacher would say a big download and I'm like, I don't know what that just was. Like I can't, like I don't know the word. I don't know what that was, but the energy felt good, so I'm saying yes. And our subconscious is so powerful. Like right now, I'm not thinking, breathe, and like beat my heart and like make everything work. Our subconscious is the 95% that's running our body all the time. So when you're like driving home and you're not really thinking about it and being like, shoot, I was gonna go to the grocery store and I totally just drove right home, that's your subconscious working. So it's always working in the background, which is why the theta healing downloads are so freaking powerful. Oh, and shared, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone always sharing the love into the world. Awesome, awesome. And then Laura says, yes, I did that because I didn't want to be weird. As a little light worker, I realized people wouldn't like me if I was shining my light. Aw, thanks. And yeah, you are a bright light in the world, Laura, and we need to shine more and more brightly as we're called to, and the people who aren't meant for us will just leave. And I understand, and I can do a whole other video about shifting out of those worlds, and I've done it a couple different times in my life now where I've outgrown people and it's not in my highest and best good, it's not in their highest and best good, it's not in the highest and best good of the world and the people that I'm here for me to ever stay small and try to like drag someone along or constrict myself and dim my light to be around them. It's so fucking hard. Like, oh my God, doing that work. I'm so grateful for every mentor and healer and person that I attracted when I needed to do that work, like really, really deeply when that started coming up for me. And it sucks to let people go and to be like, there likely won't be space for you in the world that I'm co-creating, in the life that I'm co-creating, and that's fine. And like, it sucks to let go of people that you have such deep connections with, but I promise you, the person that you're stepping into and the life that you're creating, that you're co-creating, is always, always, always worth it. I've done this several times in the different areas of my life, and every single time, without fail, and without fail of like any other lightworker in person that I've come across who also does the same thing, you always meet soul tribe who are so much more deeply loving to you and supportive and there for you and show up in the way that you want, and those are the containers that you're looking for. Those are the places that you're wanting to join into. That is your soul family. And Laura says, aw, thanks, you're welcome, you are awesome. Okay, and then Natasha, hi, how are you doing? And then Laura says, I got compliments on my poem at the show today. Yay, that's so awesome. If you feel called to share publicly, you can share publicly if you want, and you can tag me. Okay, and I met some people at the show and shared about my life coaching and my story of why I created it. Beautiful, I love that. This weekend was super healing and emotional and brought up a lot of past memories of sexual trauma, but it came up to heal for me. Such a powerful show. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Laura, and thank you for shining brightly in the world. Oh, I love it so much. Okay, and then because we were talking about failures, I was also like, there was a lot of awesome wins this week, and I love talking and sharing about wins, and I feel like I'm going to share more about those too, also to like give women permission to share their wins. So all of the wonderful people who are currently on live now and the people who are going to be joining on the replay later, I want to shout out all of you. So put in the comments some of your wins this week, and I'm gonna like shout out some of my awesome wins from the last week, because it was a fucking awesome week. And the first thing that came through was like, I've officially like helped a client heal herpes. Like, I had a client who came in with the intention of clearing and healing a lot of sexual things, and she's like, I know that this is something that can be fully healed in my body, and we did it. I was really called to a lot of the deep issues that were going on for her, and we were clearing and doing all the different layers of it. And then within like theta healing, there's so many different electives you can take, and the book came up in my mind of the Dis-Ease and Disorder book. So I got the book because I could just like buy it online, and it had so much more information around like speaking to the herpes virus, doing the downloads on the virus itself, and all these different things. And we went from her muscle testing. So muscle testing is to see you're connected to your subconscious and what your truth is and all those things. And we went from muscle testing yes to herpes to muscle testing no for herpes in her body. And I was so excited by that, because STIs have huge shame and stigma in the world. And like, since I had her as a client, I've had some other clients as well who also have herpes, and that I've also supported them in clearing and releasing and letting go of the shame of that, of the disease in their body, of the amount of outbreaks that they get. And I'm like, that's a fucking epic, awesome thing. And I love that there's so many holistic ways to serve and support our bodies in this world, and that I'm super grateful for Vienna, the creator of Theta Healing, and who like made the book to be like, yeah, these last like couple little pieces, clear that and she's good. Like, it makes me so lit up that women, especially because I work with women only in the sexual arena, I'm starting to take on other like male clients in other areas, but only women, especially for like sexual healing, to see the hope in their eyes, to see the shifts in knowing their truth and standing up for themselves more and having pleasure in their life, in just like all the ways that they transform. I feel like that is like the biggest honor of my life, to be able to serve my soul sisters and witness their transformations. Like, it feeds my heart, like it like nourishes my soul to do this work. So that was like a huge win in my business, and I've been connecting with more awesome soul sisters who are interested in like one-on-one coaching, and like I've been working on awesome projects that are going well, and I have some awesome friends who are like really feeling the call to make massive waves of change in the world, and I organized an accountability group for us, so we're gonna like start that either this Monday or a future Monday. We haven't quite clarified the exact start time, but we have clarified everything else and found a time that everything works for everyone. Like, we can all do these things for ourselves. You don't always have to like find a coach or a group outside of yourself to do these things. You can just like make things work for yourself. But I also invested in my own business again with Emily Utter's Sales Power program, so that I can shine my light brighter in all areas of my business, and to up-level my own skill sets, because at the beginning of my business, I totally had the belief system that like sales is sleazy and sales is bad, and then like I'd hear the light workers who are like, sales is service, and I'm like, okay, like I feel like that's a tagline, but it's like, yeah, sales is service. I literally needed a container for my water bottle, like my water to go into, so it was like a very good, awesome thing in the world that water bottles were invented. And I value like getting my hair trimmed, so like that's a service. It's an exchange of energy, and I've completely shifted my mindset to being like, it's a fucking service. Like, I have really awesome innate gifts and skills that transforms people's lives, and I need to get in front of the people that I have soul contracts with to serve and show up for. So like, that's another thing where I'm sure in future weeks you'll learn more about the awesome successes and failures that I'm now going to be sharing. And I think I'm going to share more in like my stories, because I was feeling really excited to do that. So I think I'm going to focus energy on that, and I'm going to tune back into the comments too. And hey everyone, jumping on live, lots of awesome people. Okay, so Natasha says, growing from my last relationship, and there's this to see more, okay. Growing from my last relationship was the hardest thing I've ever had to. Growing to be a loving person and throwing away all the negative things that they had brought to me in my life. I'm so thankful. You are so beautiful. Of all the things you share, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story too, Natasha, and I'm sending you so much love, and thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate that and receive that. And hi Michelle, hi everyone else joining live. And Laura says, I know exactly how you feel. When I met those girls today at the show, I talked about my coaching and just what I had been through, and it reminded me why I'm so passionate about it again. Yes, I love that so much. And I started dancing again, and I made that a post publicly because a couple soul sisters reminded me of all the awesome things that I was doing and how I was showing up for them. And like, what you're doing matters to people. Like, literally in the past couple days, I've had a couple different messages from like awesome soul sister high vibe energy women who were like, I've been watching your stuff for X amount of months. I've like been watching your stuff since this post, which this is the post that like I want healing on. And it's about showing up. The same day that you plant your seed is not the same day that you're going to harvest. So the same day you start your business isn't the same day that you're going to like necessarily make all of your money from it. So like again, ex-accountant, strategically plan out how you're going to do things. Like there's definitely time and place for that. But also, like, the world really needs us to show up in our love and just spread more light in the world. And, like, I've gotten to the place in my business where, like, last week I just kind of took Tuesday off. Like, a thing came up to go celebrate, and I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And I was able to, like, slightly tweak a couple things in my calendar, and then I just, like, took the fucking day off, and that is impossible to do in the corporate world. I'd have a certain amount of vacation days, and I would have already like blown through them within like the first quarter of the year compared to like the life that I live now. So I really encourage you to show up in a loving way, because the world is very reciprocal, and the more value and love you put out into the world, the more you receive back to you. So I'm sending you guys all so much love. Again, everyone who's on the replay and everyone who's still on live, if you haven't shouted yourself out and you have a business or you're a light worker or coach or healer or any way that you serve and support the world, definitely feel free to like shout yourself out and link to your website or link to your page or whatever you're feeling called to link to. If you want to be on the Love and Light show, let me know. And also, if you want to have awesome blowjob bliss of like squirting orgasms and like ecstasy when you're quote giving pleasure to other people, I will put the link in the comments below for my Blissful Blowjobs course. And well, it's a workshop, so it's like 2 hours, and you can learn a ton of stuff and get a bunch of like energetic clearings where you can really tune into your body, because being disconnected from our pleasure is a huge blockage for so many women, and we tend to have that because we're in a society that objectifies us. So it's a healing where we do the healing work within you to reconnect yourself to your pleasure, and the pleasure in your mouth to the pleasure in your other areas. And I can't say all the things that I want to say because it's like way too sexy for the internets, but well, technically the social media. I can do whatever I want on my websites. So I'll put the link there so you guys can learn more about it, and that you can get all the juicy information and the how-to and the healing in this workshop. I am so excited for it, and it got literally sparked because women like you were like, I need to learn things like this. Can you teach me? And I'm like, I have a lot of stuff that I'm doing, but yeah, I could do a 2-hour workshop on it. Let's go. So I'm sending you guys all so much love, and I love that Laura just put her website in there. And Natasha says, I feel like depending on what you do will determine what you get out of what you do. Yes. Okay. Sorry, didn't get to explain. What do you mean, didn't get to explain? I feel like depending on what you do will determine what you get out of what you do. That makes sense to me. Did you want more to explain? You can totally continue the conversation in the comments, guys, and I'm sending you guys all so much love and hope you have a wonderful night.